Let the elder brother sacrifice his today so that the younger one can have a better tomorrow, Frankie said. Based on this notion, he played himself as the victim of a crime he never committed. He let his brother Winston walk out of the jail and imprisoned himself for years. He charged himself for his brother's fault. Several years passed when Frankie came out of jail, but he never tried to find Winston again. Frankie breaks into his benefactor's hotel, COMRAC, who owns a series of hotels named the Continentals. On New Year's Eve, he sneaks into the hotel and crashes at his party unexpectedly. He seems to like playing something big and follows an intruder, which leads him to a railway station. After the train leaves, they break into a room filled with gold and jewels with the help of a staircase. The chaos remains unheard in between the fireworks of New Year's Eve. The intruder is behind the gold, but Frankie has some other plans. He unlocks a mini locker and finds a box. This is the most valuable thing belonging to Comrack, and Frankie is all behind it. The intruder turns suspicious about that thing, and now he wants that. Aiming the gun at Frankie, he asks him to kneel down. However, Frankie has guns all over his body, so he shoots him dead. The gunshots encourage everyone to rush into the hotel, and the security team notices him stealing the most valuable thing. They try to stop him, but he blows up the gas cylinder and jumps into the dungeon from where he entered. They fill the dungeon with the bullets, but he is well trained to escape. The buzzers in the hotel activate the security, and they are coming from each corner. However, Frankie is enough to deal with them all alone. His incredible moves and robust actions dig them to death, and he manages to escape by jumping through a window. Instead, they are a lot in numbers, but nothing can stop him, and he escapes in a car. Winston has turned into a successful businessman with no interest in his brother's life. Currently, he is looking for options in the city of London to expand his business. Therefore, he finds some entrepreneurs and breaks a deal for car parks. Also, he gets involved with the partner's wife in making love. Unfortunately, some of the intruders get in and throb him as hard as they can. A lady put him under anesthesia, and they dragged him to a truck with the help of a trash can. On the other hand, Cormac, while testing his staff's reliability, asks one of them to jump off the building. This is because they let Frankie steal the most valuable thing. The moment Winston gets into the hotel, the employee jumps out of the window and smashes his head against the floor. They take him in, and Cormac asks about Frankie. He wants him to find him at any cost. Although he is not even interested and never heard from him for years, Cormac wants him to find Frankie. He is a man trained by Comrack and always ignores his mistakes, but stealing the establishment of the Continental hotels is unforgivable. However, he pulls himself out of this matter and they let him go. But Comrack commands his men to follow him. Two detectives who are also lovers are working on some anti-corruption projects. KD and Mayhew are lured into the Continental Hotel's corruption, but collecting the proof against the mission is a real difficulty for them. In the meantime, two siblings, who are also war veterans, are running a business of guns in the basements of Burton Karate. They own a massive business, and this is how they are linked to Frankie. They have been abandoned by a gangster's troop, and they are about to kill them. Luckily, some anonymous characters attack them and blow off the fingers of one of them. Also, a robust fight results in the death of all others, and the siblings are all fine. They get back to their spot. KD wanted to step into the hotel, but Mayhew abducted her in front of the hotel and forbade her to be directly involved in this. Winston met his caretaker long ago, who taught him about business. He is happy to see the son-like disciple who is doing so well in his life. He asks for the matter, and Winston spells out all about Frankie. He thought that Frankie might be here because this was the spot he loved to spend time in. But the fatherly body informs him about Burton's Karate, where Frankie can be found. He also wants a car to travel to the center. He offers his most beloved one and asks Winston to take care of it with his life. He wants his car back, so he instructs him to put a sheet on it whenever parked. Winston takes his words and rushes out to find his brother. Also, he tries to ignite the sibling's spark in his heart about Frankie because he knows that deep down, he still loves his brother. Lou fights with her brother because this gun gambling is getting them closer to death day by day. She wants to run the karate center, but his brother urges her to run the gun business because the business is not doing well. All they have is a dusty place with no customers, but Lou wants to make it work because of her father's dream. However, he convinces her to do the last trade and then lets this all shut down. He also promises to give some time to the karate business after that deal. It seems the previous fight was because of any deal breaker with the guns. Winston finds the Bruton Karate and covers up the car when parking. This seems odd to people, but he has to keep the promise. He finds Lou and talks about the center. She turns aggressive to hear Frankie's name from him and threatens him to go out of this place. But he is firm and points the gun at him. He wants to know more about him, and she unwillingly takes him in. He meets his brother and a coworker inside. They point the guns at him and compel him to surrender. It seems that they were friends with Frankie, and then he betrayed them, and now they are looking for him just like Winston. But he is nowhere with no clues. They believe in him and take him in. They have a collection of several antique guns in their basement. They informed me that Frankie was a friend, but he never showed up after the Continental Hotel. He may be in Alphabet City, and Winston knew a place where he could be. They also give him a gun to keep with him, and he rushes out to find his brother. Cormac people are following him. The scene switches to high tables where Frankie's companion has been beaten. They are trying to make him speak about the valuable thing, but he keeps on getting thrashed. Until they threatened him with his family, he was bribed with 40 grand for allowing him to take this thing. But nothing could be hidden from the high tables. Katie, a masked woman, is the one responsible for taking hold of all these matters. She commands to kill him because he knows a piece of more privileged information that is not supposed to be known by anyone. Also, it seems that Cormac is not doing well with his responsibilities, so he may lose his job soon. Hence, Katie is stubborn to get into the hotel and see guns at every employee's body. She asks for the expensive scotch and even a room, but the threatening employees are everywhere, wanting her to leave in the first place. She notices the danger and indirect rebellious talk with them. So, she got out of the hotel in a minute. Winston moves to Alphabet City and finds a worn-out theater. He has been tricked by a dummy and he hangs him in the air. However, when Frankie notices that he is Winston, he lets him go. Frankie's wife is also living with him in this rusty building. Winston informs him about the danger hanging around his head. Also, he suggests him to run as soon as possible. He wants him to get out of this mess, but Frankie is pissed off for him being here. He can lure the danger here, and nobody else knows about his secret place. However, he is not listening to Winston, and his wife is angrier. He never mentions his brother to her and now this Cormac's danger. He also never mentioned his theft of the assets of Continental hotels. Frankie's wife is stubborn about leaving this homely place and refuses to go, because she wants to live here with Frankie and wishes to start a family. But Frankie has predicted the danger and he insists she runs away. She locks herself up while the comrades enter and make their first attempt to blow off the building. Winston is amazed that the thing he's stolen is just an ancient coin presser. What is the thing making them so outrageous for this thing? Frankie explains that Cormac is just afraid of high tables and he fears abduction and disappearing. Therefore, he wants me at any cost. Frankie manages to convince his wife and rushes out of the place before they can enter in. Luckily, Winston buys some time by covering up the wrong car and they find the chance to escape. She takes the flowers with her and gets out of it with teary eyes. His wife is watching Winston with killer eyes and throbbing Frankie for trusting him. Although he asks him to escape without them and save his life, Winston has developed a soft corner for his brother. He takes them to their non-biological father and gets some place for them to hide. Frankie's trying to calm his wife, but she is feared. Cormac gets the news of their escape and now decides to approach the outsources. They are one of their guests with the weirdest personalities. Hence, they have to approach the best to find the best. KD notices a tappet in the room and finds a file from Mayhew with a note of apology. The files belong to Frankie with all the details. Frankie and Winston try to discuss their traumas and blame each other for being absent in each other's lives. Frankie reveals that he never tried to approach him so that he could live his best life. Also, he shook hands with Cormac because Winston had a huge debt, and he wanted to help him under wraps. Winston is in tears to realize that his brother made hard choices to just let him live in peace. They decide to move out of this fuss and then live a happy life. Frankie and Winston are planning to have a life together while one of the men there betrays them and informs Cormac about their presence here. He has a gun and is moving to Frankie to kill. Luckily, Frankie's wife finds him betraying and slashes his throat in one go. However, they have been entrapped with the forces of Cormac, and they need to get out of there. A storm of bullets surrounds them, but Frankie's wife is well trained to deal with these brats. They shatter off the glass window, and she holds a huge gun to blow them off with their cars. Winston's driving skills are at their peak, and even they flip the car with all this rush. The comrades think that they are in the inverted car, but they have escaped instantly. They find a building next to them and sneak into it. The fighters follow them, but they manage the bullets very well. Frankie's wife enters a room with a baby and a mother. One of them finds her in the room and follows, but she snatches and pounces the comrade excellently. They are poorly injured, but they fight till their deaths. She choked his throat and stabbed the iron press into his head. Winston takes the box with him and kills the others with the minigun while they have so many huge guns. But all it takes is the guts to shoot at the right aim and at the right time. The weirdos' outsources have reached them and set their guns on the rooftop. The three of them find a chopper on top of the building and get into it. Frankie has been shot by these weirdos. Also, the pilot has been hit, giving the chopper a shake in the air. Frankie is still hopeful for a successful life ahead. The wish makes them confused, but Frankie clears up their head with a jump. He takes the box and jumps in front of the weirdos. He lets them shoot in the head while his wife and Winston are in real shock and sobbing in pain to lose his loved one. Cormac gets the box, and Winston takes Frankie's wife to the Bruton karate. The movie ends with rebellious bloody eyes and vengeful veins, Winston asking about the life's cost of his brother. He is here to get a lot of guns to fight Comrec. If you like the recap of the first episode of this theater blocking series and want more bombastic recaps in the future, hit the like and subscribe button. Also, inform us about what was the most thrilling part of the recap you feel really connected to.